Why do AI images often feel so wrong? And why do some things just look beautiful? The reality is that your perception can be engineered. It can be shaped, nudged, and even manipulated, often without you realizing it. In Why AI Art Feels So Wrong, Thomas Flight argues that AI art feels empty because it imitates the appearance of meaning without the lived experience behind it. And in Some Things Just Look Beautiful, design theory argues that beauty rules feel convincing because context and bias can trick you into preferring something, and then you mistake that preference for truth. If perception can be manipulated so easily, then this begs the question, what are we actually responding to when we call something art or say something is beautiful? Design theory opens his video by showing us how easily your eyes can be fooled. Motion that is not motion, stillness that feels alive. What you see is not raw reality, and your brain is doing interpretations, and interpretations can be shaped. Thomas Flight opens his video with a gut reaction. AI images that look extremely real, but something about them feels off. Then he challenges that instinct. Is that just another fear of new technology, or a signal that something deeper is missing, the uncanny valley? Both videos treat perception as a battleground, one being design tricks versus visual judgment and perception, and the other being AI output versus intuitive reaction, that gut feeling. So we have two tool myths. AI is just a tool for making art. Beauty rules are just tools for making design look good. Both videos say, no, tools carry purpose, and purpose shape culture. Thomas Flight confronts the most common defense of AI art. It's just another tool. This argument shows up in Hollywood too, with AI actors and studios saying the industry should embrace it, as long as it's ethical and legal. But Thomas Flight does not accept the tool framing as the end of the conversation. It argues you cannot decide whether AI is a tool for art until you define what art is for. Design theory reaches a parallel conclusion from the other direction. Rules, in this case beauty rules, like the line of beauty or the golden ratio, are often presented as objective tools for making things beautiful, but they smuggle in assumptions, biases, and power. In other words, even when something looks like a neutral technique, it can also function as a persuasion engine to what you find beautiful and whether or not you even consider AI art to be real. This is where Thomas Flight makes their biggest conceptual move. It separates art and artifact. Art tries to express something mysterious about lived experience. Artifice is crafted to deliver a message, trigger a response, or guide behavior like ads or signs. Thomas Flight says artifice is not automatically bad. It's necessary. You want a stop sign to be clear, not spiritually profound. The problem is when we confuse them. With design theory, he basically diagnoses beauty talk as a kind of aesthetic artifice. When someone insists there's one perfect curve, or there's one magic proportion like the golden rule, one timeless style, it often works less as a truth and more as authority. With design theory's golden ratio, this is especially blunt and obvious. You can overlay rectangles and spirals onto almost anything if you try hard enough, and thick lines and diagrams can hide that it doesn't matter. It's not neutral discovery, that's persuasion. Thomas Flight says artifice exists to influence behavior and produce consensus. Design theory says that beauty rules often become cultural consensus through repetition, bias, and context, not because they're universal. Both videos warn that aesthetic surfaces can be engineered to feel true. With Thomas Flight's argument, art is about mystery and astonishment. It uses the Kavir cave paintings. It argues that art is existence speaking, a human impulse that remains recognizable across 30,000 years. It claims art astonishes, pulling you out of pure utility and into contact with the strange fact of being alive, being human. In design theory's argument, beauty is not about context and influence. It shows how what feels right can be the result of optical correction and perception management, like the Parthenon's curves that look straight to the eye, but are actually curves. Then it expands. Your preferences are shaped by central bias, composition, comparison, and knowledge. So Thomas Flight treats aesthetics as a doorway into meaning. Design theory treats aesthetics as a doorway into power. But they are not actually disagreeing. They're focusing on different dangers. One fears a future where our culture replaces astonishment with infinite imitation and consumption. Design theory fears a culture where people confuse conditioned preference with universal truth, and that truth gets used to erase differences and sell control. If art can be reduced into consumption and beauty can be reduced into rules, then both become easier to mass produce and easier to weaponize. Thomas Flight's sharpest claim is not that AI images look bad, or that they're slop, as some people call it. It's that AI outputs are actually aligned with the consensus. It's built upon statistically generalized information and images and data from all of human existence. That's why the creator describes scrolling AI video streams as dizzy and empty. It's not just the uncanny visuals, it's the feeling that nothing needed to be made. And this is where design theory becomes the perfect comparison to this piece. It explains how the consensus aesthetic are manufactured. For example, put the option in the center, people pick it more. Show curves together, spacing changes the perception. Give something meaning like a stock chart, and suddenly it becomes beautiful. So if AI is trained on the outputs of culture, then AI is basically a machine for reproducing whatever culture already rewarded in the past. The link to this would be Thomas Flight's argument warning us that AI can generate infinite variations but cannot add a new perspective born of lived experience in the current or present. Design theory warns us that rules push everything towards the same look, reducing experimentation and cultural difference. Put them together and you get a shared fear convergence, a world where aesthetics collapse into one optimized average of whatever was already popular. Thomas Flight insists that the process matters because meaning seeps in through thousands of tiny choices, accidents, and responses. Prompting AI is not like a paintbrush. It's describing an outcome and outsourcing the attempt. Design theory doesn't speak just to specifically AI, of course. It reinforces the same principle in design. The Parthenon isn't beautiful because of perfect measurements. It's beautiful because it's shaped around human perception. That means the process is always entangled with the audience, the body, and the movement. Flight says that art is not just an output, it's a human. Design theory says that beauty is not a code, it's a living cultural negotiation. So if you remove the attempt, you may get images, but you risk losing the thing that makes images matter. Our perception is hackable. Art and beauty can be used to create a consensus, but art at its best breaks the consensus by rewarding astonishment, by rewarding the lack of sameness to everything else. Flight ends with the haunting question: are we building systems to perfectly satisfy prompts when what we actually want is to be challenged by vision, to do the labor, to be challenged by the process itself? Design theory ends with a similar ethical questioning. Rules are useful as a start, but refinement means learning to see yourself and accepting that beauty is hard to define in the first place. Both video essays are really saying that if you don't define the value for yourself, someone else will define it for you, whether it's an algorithm or the set of rules that you live by, and they will do it by using aesthetics. So maybe the point isn't to necessarily ban AI art or pretend that we don't live in a world with artifice and need those structurally sound pieces like that stop sign. Maybe the point is to keep the categories clear and defined. When something is trying to sell, persuade, optimize, mass produce, create consensus, we call that what it is: art. And when something reawakens mystery and the feeling of being a lived experience, protect space for that as well. Because in a world where perception is programmable, attention becomes a moral choice. What we look at determines what gets made, repeated, valued, and mass-produced. Hope you guys liked the video. Please subscribe, leave a like, and comment down below if you have any opinions, hot takes, or anything that you agreed with or disagreed with in this video. Love to hear from you guys. Bye.